Alright, I have no idea where I'm going to be posting this. It might just be in Discord. It might be on my channel, so depending on where you're watching it, you might know. But this is like the most hastily thrown together thing I've ever done, and that is because I actually can't wait to do this. I really can't. It's like 3 in the morning. It's stupid. I don't know if this setup is really going to work. I literally have stuff clamped to a table in my TV room because my other computer's not at home right now. This is what I received today, technically yesterday, from Kingdom Death, and I know that it is supposed to contain, at the very least, the Gambler's Chest expansion. And it probably has more than that. I'm hoping that me opening it from this side is going to work better than me trying to get in the way of the camera. Unfortunately, I just don't have my setup in my basement ready just yet. So you're going to have to forgive me for having what I can only describe as the jankiest setup I've ever had. Okay, so obviously this box is gonna go. Yeah, that's literally everything in the box. This is it. This is everything. I'm actually glad that they did this because it definitely was a little beat up. A little beat up. But we've got somewhere along the lines of 28 pounds, minus packaging weight, of more Kingdom Death content. That's all in this box, and I'm not going to manage to keep this center frame. I mean, you can tell that my shit's a mess. I've got a whole bunch of games sitting over here, and that's only some of them, but we're not worried about that right now. I have exactly 0 script. I have only minor knowledge of what to expect. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be just kind of in awe of all the stuff that's in this box, because I believe it is significantly more than just the Gambler's Chest. I don't know what this is. I don't want to rip it. Okay, it's just paper. I wasn't quite sure. There's been like messages on some of these things in the past. Did I open it upside down? Oh, if I opened it upside down, that'd be fantastic. So I don't know if you guys can see. I'm just gonna make this easier on myself here and shred the box. Try and not end up entirely out of breath. Oh, very nice. But let's see. It says core game required, 1 to 4 players. I think we've got another piece of paper here. And it also has a 17 plus mature content sticker on it, which is funny. I'm struggling. I don't want to just pick this thing up and throw the box away, but it seems to be the easiest thing to do. So yeah, there's a mature advisory on here, which is accurate. I'm not doubting. Oh, there it is. It says Gambler's Chest expansion. My light is way too bright, but you can see that it says that. There you go. As the camera adjusts. So I think this is the top. Ooh, okay. I wish. Maybe I just kill it. I've got some other lights here, so I'm hoping maybe that'll be enough to let you see. I'll see, but now you can see the shadow of the ring light. Oh, problems, problems, problems. This is... there's no way to do it in such a way that you don't see the shadow, but there is the seal for the Gambler. It's a cool seal. Unfortunately, this outer, this isn't a box. This is like an outer covering for a box, so it's pretty flimsy. It's not something that's going to last. It's not something that's probably going to survive. We've got so much paper. So many stickers. I don't want to just actively shred the box components, but we'll do what we gotta do. Alright, as I look in here, we've got something right up top. I think this is, in fact, the gambler's chest. Oh my god, that's so big. That's so ridiculously big. Hand for scale. And I don't have, I don't have huge hands, but I don't have tiny hands either. Alright, we've got some other stuff in here. This is significantly lighter. And that is everything. I mean, that's still a lot. I say that's everything like it's not a lot. So we're going to start over here. I think I know what this is. That's just a protective sleeve. The miniature assembly. Oh, I'm wrong. There's nothing else in this box but the gambler's chest. And this is all the miniatures from the gambler's chest, I'm pretty sure. Alright, so we're going to set that aside then. Because what's actually going to be game content, I think, is in here. So again, this is facing me right now, but you can kind of see that. You can see me in the reflection. It's impressive. I am using my headset's mic because I could not get my boom mic working on this computer. Oh, look at that. Look at that art. That is cool. I think is that the Ram God? I really don't know. I'm sure we'll find out. Here, if we can get the reflective plastic off of it, you'll get a better look at it. Now that, and if the light doesn't fucking murder everything. I feel like I should just remove the light. There's enough light in here. Here, we're embracing the scuff. The only problem is that my camera is being fed through my ring light, which, like the USB, and I could disconnect it. I might have to disconnect it. But if I don't have to, I'm going to try to not. I don't think I can avoid it. Alright, hopefully this doesn't just kill everything. Nope, that froze it. That froze the camera. Let's see if I can fix it on the fly. Or maybe we'll be doing editing. Look, we're having a good old time. There's got to be scuff, right? There we go. And well, it's live. Look, there will be some editing involved. Now you just see the shadow of the camera. And you know what? If I turn on an extra light switch, that might go away. Said totally planned. Totally not problematic. Look at that. That art is really cool. But it's time to crack into this sucker. Alright, we got a bunch of tokens. There's a +1 S pressure, +1 torment, some faces, a -1 luck, some rerolls. I think those are your reroll tokens. Again, I know that this is totally scuffed and you can't really see these well. But those are some cool tokens. These are very clearly some terrain that we're going to have. So my guess here is these look like fingers. We've got like a brain tree, a blood pool, some statues that look like their heads like cut straight through. Don't know what those are. Look like honeycomb, some bloody lanterns. It's very neat. A new board. Okay, this board has to be for a very specific encounter. That is all I can think of, is it has to be for an encounter of some kind. I'm not sure what, but it It's small. It's got maybe half the size of the normal board. We've got some new yes, we've got some new character sheets. Come on, focus on it. You can do it, camera. I should turn off one. You know what? We're going to do some more light rearranging here. But one of the things, let's see if I turn off that. Okay, we've got much less light, but it's coming from just behind me, which also clearly doesn't work. Look, we're experimenting here. What if I bring the ring light back? It's only shaking the camera a little bit. All right. Got some new character sheets, and the important part here is there's a philosophy and knowledge over here. These are new mechanics that I know are in the gambler's chest. We have silica gel packets. Now these things are cool. We have something that says do not open until instructed. I do not know what this is, and I'm not going to open it until instructed. Alright, we have a rule book. Some stuff stuck to it that is literally just, it just says Gambler's Chest on it. It just says Gambler's Chest. I assume that this is just all the rules for all the things in here, which probably includes the new campaign, which probably includes the scout system and other stuff. Since I don't see a fully updated rule book, this might just be a, and here's how the rules have changed. Ooh, look at that. That's a nice lining. Alright, the contents. We've got the Gambler's Chest introduction, the prologue, the recurrent story. Okay, the introduction is on page 4. The prologue is on page 33. There are 29 pages of introduction here. Wow. Okay, anyway. Recurrent story, People of the Dreamkeeper campaign setup. Cool. New core rules, as I expected. Monsters, Gambler Chest rules, which includes Ark Survivors, narrative sculpture, characters, encounters, patterns, scouts, and wanderers. We got Scout Hunt events, Ark Story Hunt events, a whole bunch of new story events, which is cool, which includes a new intimacy, it looks like. And there's a finale. We're not going to go too far. We're not going to go too far into the rule book, because I could be in this rule book for hours. So it says, thank you. To those who have gone ahead, I thank you. The fun we shared, the adventures we had, and the promises we made under those youthful and starry skies, I carry those dreams. To the people who worked on this project, I thank you. To the fans, backers spelled incorrectly, which is kind of a meme if you're not aware. Supporters and silent supporters, I thank you. You continue to stoke the flames of creative ambition. May your lanterns always be bright. Alright, Gambler's Chest expansion, a collection of new rules, monsters, and components, plus a campaign to experience them all. The Gambler's Chest contains many new elements that will challenge Kingdom Death Monster players. In the following pages, you will find an overview of new concepts, content, and miniatures included in the box. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. So there's narrative sculptures, which are basically just minis that are designed to be important in a certain place, as like, I think they've got like, somebody holding the Twilight Sword aloft, right? And so like if you're mastering the Twilight Sword, maybe you use that miniature instead of a different one. Something like that. There's probably more that I'm not aware of. The pattern and seed patterns, cards that expand what your settlement can build. I don't know the explicit rules on those just yet, but I'm pretty sure that's like, hey, you came up with an idea and that you have to grow it a little bit before you can make something out of it. Encounters, monsters that waylay your hunt as you search for your quarry. Scouts of Death, survivors who carry the burden of recovery after a disastrous hunt. Wanderers, survivors with storied pasts emerge from the darkness. So basically, we can run into survivors like that the whole idea that when you, spoiler alert, master the Twilight Sword or the katana, you wander into the distance, never to be heard from again. I do know that this camera setup is absolutely terrible. I probably should try and configure this to be top down, like truly top down. But then I really need to be flipping this over. Actually, I can actually flip this. I can flip the footage. That's what I can do. There will be some editing. New monsters: Crimson Crocodile, Smog Singers, Atlas the King, the Gambler, and the God Hand enter the fray. We have Ark Survivors, which incorporates collective cognition, philosophies, and knowledge. That's the new stuff. I need to put it this way. On these, it's the stuff over here, which is cool. And then the Dreamkeeper campaign, new campaign that weaves together all the new content. So I think we're going to get a basic overview of all these things, which is really cool. I guess I could flip it. Anyway, I'm not going to do it live. We'll do it in editing. We'll do it in post. Narrative sculptures are miniatures designed to be your next beloved survivor. Each tells a story of kingdom death. Just turning that down a little bit. Alright, settlements that defeat the God Hand unlock the character system for use in future campaigns. Ah ha ha. They're giving us a legacy version of the game. Characters are an optional component that adds another layer of personality to survivors when they are named. Many character cards are inspired by the narrative sculptures included in this box. We have patterns and seed patterns. Patterns represent inspiration. They extend the range of gear that survivors can craft. Seed patterns introduce a source of wild ideas, a table to fabricate outrageous new designs that provide novel solutions to gameplay challenges. So we've seen some previews of these, but the idea is like, so this colossal chef's carver says gourmandism, perhaps. I know that gourmand is French. It says colossal chef's carver, 2 lumi, 3 iron, and black lichen. So this is an example of something that you can now make once you have this card. We don't quite know necessarily how you get this card, but that is a pattern card. Then there's the pattern gear. This is actually a seed pattern card. So basically, when you have this card and you have a Mighty Bone Axe, you might have different things. So a bold survivor vows to create a weapon to match their courage. Plead for what you ask. A handout of the darkness marks your wrists in blood. And then attach crack axe and fill with blood. All departing survivors gain a bleeding token. So this is potentially more things that we could do later. I assume that we're going to get some... Oh no, it's not going to explain anything else. We're going to have to dig into the rules to find out more. Encounters. As the survivors track their quarry, encounter monsters stalk the darkness. Encounters add new perils to the hunt phase. So this is, I think, playing on the idea that was originally... I shouldn't say originally in the game, but that was very quickly added to the game with the Nightmare Tree, where normally there are hunt event cards that are just like, roll a D100, right? But that's not a thing that really, at least for my campaigns that I've played, hasn't really taken off. Like we tried it once and it was okay, but having those cards be more than just do something, is interesting. So the dreaded Bone Eaters are statuesque monsters that can remain still for lantern decades without food or water, lying in wait for their prey. Their presence increases the lethality of any hunt. So basically, your hunt gonna get screwed real fast, is what I'm saying. Potentially. Scouts of Death. Scouts carry a heavy burden. In the absence of regal intervention, a scout must return with the battered corpses and gear of the fallen hunting party. So the scouts basically are the ones doing the dirty work. When you're explaining the game to your friends and you say, oh yeah, but if you die you get to keep all your gear, it's the scouts that make that possible. Because, well, how else, if everybody dies, if everybody wipes, who's bringing out back the gear, right? Well, it's the scouts. Scouts are optional component that increase the simulation and the difficulty of a campaign. It answers the question, what happens to survivors' gears when they perish? Survivors nominated as the scout departs with the hunting survivors. Instead of trying to fell their quarry, the scout's role is to bear witness and survive at all costs. In the worst case, they must fulfill the grim role of bringing everything back to the settlement. In the best case, their unique perspective may lead to discoveries that benefit the whole settlement. So it sounds like there is a chance of failure with the scouts. There's a chance that they do not make it back, which is kind of terrifying. If if you spent a whole bunch of time making really good gear and the scouts die, what happens? I'm very curious. Do you have to start over? Because most of your progress in Kingdom Death is manifested in like a couple different ways. A lot of it is gear. You spend a lot of time getting cool gear and a lot of resources to make cool gear, and it doesn't go away, so it's permanent progress. The innovations, the getting new things, the settlement locations, like these things are permanent that don't go away no matter what happens. Yes, there are ways to lose innovations, things like that, but effectively they're mostly permanent. So how this interacts, and it says that it makes the campaign more difficult, which to me says it could fail. So on this side of the page it says, Dreaded Pack contains a stinking fragment of the Pale One. It sends drives monsters away and allows scouts safe passage. It's good to know, although that's a new one. The Pale One is not someone I think I've seen mentioned in the lore. But then again, I don't follow the lore as maybe as closely as I should. The Stone Face Cloak allows the scout to hide among the stone faces. Clever, camo. Scout's Lantern helps the scout discover oncoming dangers to the settlement. And the Vermin Belly Boots soften the scout's footfalls, making them a difficult target for monsters. We have the Wanderers. Strangers that appear from the darkness. Wanderers are optional visitors for your settlement. They arrive with their own agenda. Assist them and they may join you on the hunt, bringing their unique abilities and gear. The Wanderer's stories unfolds in the time they share with the hunting survivors. They can impact a settlement in different ways depending on their disposition, often teaching survivors or sharing their boons. So what I'm getting here is, again, they definitely could make ones that are hurtful to the settlement, but it kind of seems like a counter to the difficulty. We've made it harder in some ways, potentially easier in others, but creating more complexity in the middle. So they very clearly have their own miniature, some gear, knowledge, and arts, and there's a booklet, which I don't know what that does. It seems like it's unique. Like this one is Wanderer Luck, and this one says Luck, the Wanderer. So it sounds to me like each Wanderer has its own booklet. The Crimson Crocodile, definitely one of the things that I'm looking forward to a lot in this expansion. And I say this very lightly, one of the problems that I have with Kingdom Death is not enough early monster variety. You end up fighting a level 1 monster that's pretty similar a lot. If you're fighting the White Lion, you're fighting the White Lion. If you're fighting the Gorm, you're fighting the Gorm. Switching it up is possible, but there's still not a ton of variety. You have to sit there and fight them for a while, or just immediately pass on their gear and try and fight harder stuff. It's an interesting debacle, but having another early monster is something I'm very much looking forward to. A blood-soaked beast covered in scabs that manipulates vitality. Remember that vitality, at least archaically, is generally synonymous with blood. The monster delights in the survivor's dread. Its laughter rings in their ears. The Smog Singers, pacifist travelers in search of compassion. They fill the atmosphere with smog and song, their painful harmonies merely misunderstood attempts to communicate. These are probably one of the weirdest additions to the game from what we've seen preview-wise. You have to kill them, but they punish you for killing them. It's very strange. I'm very, very curious to fight them. Atnas the Child Eater. This is just Krampus. If you can't tell from his costume, he looks like Santa, but of course he's evil Santa, which is why Atnas is Santa backwards. But you probably already noticed that. A scarred amnesiac master, its fervent pursuit of joy leads it to eat children, dice up survivors, and unleash flurries of forgotten swordsmanship. I don't know how I feel about that one. I feel like he's a nemesis monster. The Gambler, a twin-chinned god of games, a monster with a unique perspective that reaches beyond possibility. It carries the risk of an ancient wager on its shoulder as it nurtures your settlement for its own purposes. So, while I kind of thought this was the case, and I want to say that I probably read a comment on the Kickstarter or something, or the subreddit about it, but it seems like the Gambler is in fact the patron, as it were, for the new campaign, which makes all the sense in the world, considering that this is the Gambler's Chest. And then the King. Sordid history on the King. This guy was supposed to be out a long time ago, but Poots being Poots, he wanted to make sure it was, chef's kiss, right? So it has taken this long to finally come to us. A being of immense power that converts sound into energy. Even the beat of a survivor's heart can become an explosion that rends their body apart. In other words, he's like end game content. God Hand, who looks like he looks like a Resident Evil monster, one of the lickers almost, with his brain exposed like that. I actually really want to paint that guy. He looks really cool. The Hand transformed, and he does look like the Hand, so it makes sense. A relentless murder machine focused on removing the unplanned survivors for good, and capable of splitting the earth with the single swing of its blade. The entire settlement will fight for their existence. I presume he is the Watcher equivalent for the campaign in this book. Ark survivors, wielders of philosophy. I am looking forward to this one a lot, so much. Ark survivors uniquely benefit from consuming a challenging diet. Their collective cognition allows settlement to flourish into advanced societies. As they grow, Ark survivors adopt philosophies to guide their understanding of their nightmare existence. These perspectives give rise to knowledge, techniques that evolve in power and complexity. So actually they're calling out the new survivor sheets as Ark record sheets. There are apparently some rewards and knowledge cards as well as philosophy books. I do know that basically you increase your philosophy level, like they pick a philosophy level, and like as you do stuff it goes up, and as it goes up you get stuff. So I'm very curious to see these in action. The Dreamkeeper campaign. The people of the Dreamkeeper campaign weaves together the threads of the content introduced in the Gambler's Chest expansion. Starting with the Crimson Crocodile, your Ark survivors will battle their way through new and familiar foes under the auspices of the Dreamkeeper. They will build an Ark settlement bustling with new ideas and objects. Luck will not be enough to see you through to the end. With skill and defiance of fate, you may reach the final showdown with the God Hand. Look, I promise I didn't pre-record this or pre-read it, so it makes sense to me. But the prologue, turn the page, read the prologue, and start playing now. Well, guess what? It's actually just the same story, I believe. Oh no, it's not. Its belly was so full that it could not move, so it slumbered. This is where I'm going to close the rule book, because I don't think that is something we want to look at just yet. Alright, so this is a scout. The scout has fist and tooth, and it says when survivors depart, you may nominate a survivor to wear the dreaded pack. They must use this gear grid and depart as the scout this lantern year. A survivor with cursed gear may not depart as the scout. Okay, you can't like hide cursed gear in the scout. The scout gear grid is the only gear grid that may have gear with the scout keyword. Okay, so you actually have to craft better gear for the scout. But the dreaded pack is -2 movement if you are alone during the hunt or at the start of your act during the showdown. You may enact the Death Pact. You awaken the dreaded pack with its small bell. A blinding stench erupts. So basically, if the survivors die, you can use that to potentially drive the monster away, is what it sounds like. We've got a nice little... I don't know if you can hear that on this mic. It says knowledge, philosophy, and collective cognition. That's what the CC stood for. It's just a place I assume for cards to sit. Some foam, some more dice, because you never can have too many of these dice. I see this dice here, and I have no idea. It's got very unique sides, and I can't see the pattern. So much silica gel. That's fine. We've got cards. These are big cards. These are not standard playing card size cards. A normal playing card is like that tall. So we've got an extra centimeter or so. And on the back here, it looks like this is a philosophy, and This makes sense to me that those fit right there. Cool. I'm not going to open those just yet. I don't have time to open all these and page through them. I don't think I'm doing that on a video. We have settlement record sheets. This is for, I assume, the new campaign. First Crimson Day, Dreamless Respite, First Meal, Extinguished Guidepost. Sounds good. Sounds right. And year 30 is the Nemesis encounter of the God Hand. Atnus is a Nemesis encounter. You got Wanderer Luck in here. The Butcher, the Hand. Okay, this one's going to be rough. Design and Dandelions. The first survivor to reach 3 understanding. That's cool. Okay, so we have so many cards here. So many cards. I really don't know where to start. I don't think I'm going to open any of these explicitly just because I don't think I really have the time to page through them. Like, it's... How long have I been recording for? My eyes are blurry. It's so late. Been recording for half an hour? Yeah, half an hour. And it's like 3:30 in the morning. So, and I still have shit to do tomorrow. So, but we have seed patterns. We have, this is the resources for the smog singers. I'm gonna have to really hope that I can mess with the exposure of the video and make this reasonable. Hit locations for the various monsters. So the gambler. Oh wait, hit locations for the gambler? I didn't expect that. Hit locations for the gambler. And hit locations for the smog singers. And it looks like some other stuff too. I assume that's all the monsters. Hit locations between that and here. Oh, this is the hunt event actually. The magma, your blood runs hot, gain +1 speed. That's just an ability. That's cool. I wonder, one of the things that I found very interesting about the tabletop implementation of Kingdom Death is that there are a bunch of ability cards that you can basically hold in front of you, and they're super useful, but I don't know where they got all the art from. I like that idea. Bloody Hands is a survivor status. It looks like this is for... This looks like the Smog Singers, maybe? I can't actually tell what the crest is in the upper left. Whenever you wound the monster, you feel terrible. Yeah, this is the Smog Singers. And gain a guilt token. Again, they punish you for hurting them. We've got just, these are just some dividers, which I assume are going to fit in this box. We've got AI cards for this is the King and the Crimson Crocodile. Obviously there's more in here. Now this is interesting. We have Scout Discovery cards, which has some settlement events in there. We've got some art here. This looks like it's more than art. This I'm willing to open. Actually, no, I think this is just art. That's cool though. Like some of the cheesecake that is in this game I don't particularly love, but the art style, even if it's not my favorite thing ever, I still appreciate it. It's like I like a lot of the art. It could use a little bit less nudity sometimes, but I do give it credit that it does feel like it's a relatively equal opportunity nudity. Oh my gosh. So, oh well, now I've gone and done it. We have a philosophy of death, a starting philosophy, luck the wanderer, ambitionism, impermanism, optimism, fascism, not fascism, fascism, verminism. Oh god, well, that's the last thing we need is people doing more stuff with vermin. Deadism. It's just a giant, oh my god, a giant stack. Gourmandism, regalism, homicidalism, that's worrisome. Marrowism, not surprising. Romanticism, champion. There we go. Lanternism and collectivism, and we've got This tiny little deck of cards. I don't want to look at the bottom deck, but it's tiny. Look at how small this is. Compare this to the standard Kingdom Death size card. It is nice and small. I do believe I have sleeves for that size. But ooh, these are neat. I like the idea of that kind of propping them up though, so you can get to them. I imagine those are all different philosophies that you can do. We've got gear. Ooh, I like it when you can see the colors on the gear. Here we've got the Spear of Life, which is a 2/6/4 weapon, melee, spear, two-handed, reach 2, always nice. And the 1 green puzzle piece, when another survivor dies from bleeding tokens, oh gosh, on a roll a d10, on a 7+ your dart saves them, they suffer -1 permanent evasion and remove up to 3 bleeding tokens. Interesting. The gear I'm willing to look at the back of, because generally you know a lot more about the gear that you could make before you can make it. The Grand Kingslayer. I really don't know if the camera's focusing on this. My monitor is a little bit too far away. The Grand Kingslayer. Weapon, melee, grand sword, two-handed, death metal. It has a death metal keyword. I really need to get a close-up camera. Slow, sharp, devastating 1. When you critically wound the monster, if you have no armor points and all your injury level boxes are filled in, the monster is slain. Okay. Hold up. If you are on death's door, you can just auto kill the monster. It's worth pointing out that it has a base strength of 13. I don't know if you can see that. It has a base strength of 13. So if you wound the monster, oh, it does say crit. It does say crit. You have to crit the monster. Still though, a way to auto kill something, I don't know if you could ever reasonably manipulate it, but like if you were to just bring that, a whole bunch of dried acanthus, and just get smacked in the face real hard. Actually, I bet Gorm Armor, that with Gorm Armor would be pretty nuts because it lets you ignore critical injuries past that. So you just let yourself get beaten up and like hit all of your serious injury rolls at once and just run with it. Alright, and this is the Rawhide Bandana. It says seed as one of its keywords, and it does have a little symbol in the upper right there that looks like the weave of the seed cards. And it says, while insane, you may spend 1 survival to turn a monster reaction into a reaction failure before you make a wound attempt. To be fair, absolutely love that as an idea. Alright, and these, we looked at the back of these and we saw this was a philosophy. Or this one's a knowledge, actually. It says a keyword. I'm not reading any of the text on it. I'm sure you could freeze frame and read some of it yourself. Alright, we've got, that's probably for the tokens and stuff. We've got another box over here. It says settlement on it. You can see me, but I don't think you can see that. Let's see if we can take off the plastic here. Maybe. There we go. There's a reason I'm not doing that on film, because I'm terrible at deplasticizing these things. So you can really only see it in the glare. I mean, I can really only see it in the glare. But I wonder if this is designed to be a save for your settlement. I think it is. So it's got, ooh. Okay, so it's got stuff in it. We've got some settlement locations, which I'm not going to open, but this one is called the Colosseum, so it has something to do with singing. Obviously you can see singing caps, singing gloves, singing breastplate, singing pantaloons, and singing boots as the armor. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. And this is where the Spear of Life is from. There's a spinning sword, which sounds absolutely insane, but there's a bunch of settlement locations here. We've got the Bone Eaters. This is a big card. It's got basically all of their stats for their level on here, which is neat. It's one of the things that you have to, like, you can see it on the small cards for the monsters, but this big card's neat. It has the basic action. It's got a whole bunch of other reminders. It's got a whole bunch of other things on here, including a reminder, a counter condition, and also their instinct. It also has some art, which is obviously a little inappropriate, but whatever. I'm not monetized on YouTube anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. Counter condition: at the end of your attack, unless you are in the Bone Eater's blind spot, it draws a counter card. That's interesting. So there's some other interesting things going on here. Okay, we have character cards here. And it looks like some other type of cards, because this is the Mighty Bone Axe. This is the card that was referenced on one of the pages of the rule books. I'm not sure how all of these things actually play in. Because it says, yeah, it's a Mighty Bone Axe, and I guess there are different ways that you can do it. But we'll see. I know there's some other stuff in here, and I just don't know what it is. But it looks like this is set up to just save your settlement more easily. So you can throw it in here and go back. And here we have AI cards for this Smog Singers. My guess here, see now there are some very interesting symbols up here that I have not yet seen. I'm sure that they're explained in the rules, but it's very interesting. I think this is a King AI card, so I'm not going to look at it too hard. That's on the bottom here. I think this is just in here because they couldn't fit everything in there. All right, so that's everything in the box. In this box. Now, this box is designed to contain the expansion by itself, and presumably, none of the miniatures, because the miniatures are in a separate box, as you may remember, which is what we're going to go look at now. And hopefully this won't take a half hour, because unfortunately I don't think I'm really going to be able to show you guys what's in here in any detail, because my camera is not focusing on stuff close. It just isn't. I'm also assuredly packing this incorrectly. I'm not going to force the lid on here. I'm just going to set it lightly and then pick it up. Oh my gosh, this thing's huge. And yes, that is what she said. And I'm okay with that. Oh, I have the little "don't open this until instructed." I'm not gonna I'm not gonna keep that out of the box, but all right. We have another seal. These seals are probably good to be there, but they are annoying to get through. Because I don't want to damage the box. No, I don't even know if I'm actually succeeding in not damaging the box. It's all sprues. It's just all sprues, dude. Oh my god. Look at this. So this is the gambler's ball. Oh my god. Oh, look, there's dice. There's little miniature dice. I wonder what those actually get used for. Just, oh my god. I can't even begin. I can't even begin. I'm never gonna get these all together. I want to paint these stupid miniatures, and I say stupid lovingly. But there's so much shit, dude. There's so much shit. I just have to start streaming, working on it, and then I'll actually do it. But yeah, I guess it'd be better to pull out something that actually has some size to it. So I think this is part of the Crimson Crocodile. Because you can see, I don't know, this looks like the fingers. It's got a lot of like fingers all around it, and that's what these look like. Oh my gosh. This is a whole sprue, and like it doesn't even have the majority of it. There's its tongue, I think. Like there's so much stuff in here. I was hoping that this would be organized in such a way that I could be like, and look, here's this, look, here's this. This is just a box of plastic, and I am here for it. I see some character bases. This looks like the God Hand. Maybe? I see a cape, a very luxurious cape in multiple parts. Maybe not. It's hard to say. I think that it does say on a sprue somewhere. Adam Poots game, Gambler. So this is the Gambler. that makes sense. The cape, I see. Yeah, okay. There's so much, like, I'm hoping that the amount that I'm digging through this, so yeah, like, these just go on the ball. And I want to say that there is, yeah, there's instructions. It's probably hard for you to see, but like right there it says B6. And I assume, yeah, on here that says A1, that says D7, C6. I assume there's a B6 on here somewhere, and that's how those, you know how to put those together. And it looks like the tail of the crocodile. Some more people, weapons, weapons, weapons. Oh my gosh. There's so much in here. There's so much in here. Like I'm trying to do this justice. Unfortunately, that top of the like just look at this. This is all plastic. Oh my gosh. All right. So I know what I need to do. And that is wait for this to be put online so that we can play it. I am going to personally read through some of the rules about the new systems. I'm not going to do that here. I will educate myself before I do anything else. But I don't know, as I said, I don't know when this is coming out. I don't know how much editing I'm going to be doing on it. Hopefully it's one of those soon things. I'm probably going to, when I get home tomorrow and bring my computer home tomorrow, have put it all together. So this is probably going to be posted somewhere on Sunday. That might be in Discord. That might be in on YouTube. I don't know. This is very out of left field for my YouTube channel, but we'll see. I can't wait. I might actually just steal the rule book and bring it upstairs with me and read it while I'm falling asleep. Because I can't wait to try some of these new things. And I like that the campaign appears, don't know for sure yet, but appears to be based on like showing off all of this content. But yeah, that is the Gambler's Chest. And I know I can't wait to get started on it. But it's probably going to be a hot minute. But I'm also going to be looking forward to stopping in at Gen Con and seeing all of these things already put together and probably beautifully painted. I will be taking pictures, I am sure. But that will be far enough after now that I'm not going to include them on this. So, thanks for watching this unboxing. It's my first unboxing of anything, but it's probably the coolest thing I could have unboxed. So,